The cargo ship landed with a heavy thud on Kepler-7 station. Taeyang shut down the engines and rubbed his tired eyes. Another long trip through empty space. Another delivery complete. He had been flying alone for 3 years now, and he liked it that way. No crew meant no questions about his past. He grabbed his jacket and walked down the ramp into the busy station. Kepler-7 was always crowded with traders, travelers, and aliens from dozens of different worlds. The air smelled like fuel, strange spices, and recycled oxygen. Bright signs in various languages advertised food, repairs, and entertainment. Taeyang ignored them all. He just needed supplies and then he would leave again. The marketplace stretched across 3 levels of the station. Taeyang walked past vendors selling glowing fruits, humming crystals, and weapons he didn't recognize. A tall blue alien tried to sell him something, but he waved it away. He knew exactly what he needed and where to find it. Then something small and fast crashed into his legs. Taeyang stumbled backward and looked down. A child stood there, maybe 7 years old, breathing hard like he had been running. The boy had unusual features. His skin was copper-colored with a faint shimmer, like light dancing on water. His eyes were mostly human, but the pupils were vertical, like a cat's. Small ridge patterns ran along his temples, barely visible under his dark hair. The child looked up at Taeyang with wide, tearful eyes. Then he shouted one word in perfect Korean. "Appa, Dad!" Taeyang's heart stopped. The word echoed in his mind, impossible and real at the same time. The marketplace noise faded away. All he could see was this strange, beautiful child staring at him with desperate hope. "What?" Taeyang whispered. The boy grabbed his hand with small fingers. "Appa, I found you. Iyama said you might be here." Taeyang's mouth opened, but no words came out. This had to be a mistake, some confusion. He didn't have a child. He had never... Jiho. The voice cut through his thoughts like a blade made of memory and pain. Taeyang knew that voice. He had heard it in his dreams for 10 years. The crowd parted and she appeared. Hana. She looked exactly as he remembered, but also different. Her skin had the pale luminescence of her people, the Valasians, with patterns of light that moved slowly across her face and arms like living tattoos. Her long dark hair floated slightly as if underwater, responding to emotions he couldn't see. She was tall and graceful, moving through the crowd with fluid steps, but her eyes held something new. Sadness, worry. And when she saw Taeyang, a flash of pain so deep it made his chest hurt. Taeyang, she breathed his name like a prayer. He couldn't speak, couldn't move. 10 years collapsed into nothing. He was back on Talvos 4, bleeding in the dust while explosions lit up the sky. He was looking up at her face as she pressed glowing hands against his wounds, saving his life with abilities he didn't understand. He was holding her in the darkness of a bunker while war raged outside, promising they would find each other again. Lies. All lies. The evacuation had been chaos. His ship was listed as destroyed. He thought she believed he was dead. He had looked for her, but the war scattered everyone across the galaxy. Eventually, he stopped searching. It hurt too much. "You're alive," Hana said softly. Her luminescent patterns flickered rapidly, showing emotional turmoil. "All this time you were alive." The child, Jiho, still held Taeyang's hand. "Iyama, I told you. I told you he wasn't dead." Taeyang finally found his voice. "I don't... Hana, what is this? Who..." But he already knew. Looking at the boy's face, he could see it now. The shape of the eyes was his. The stubborn set of the jaw was his. But the shimmering skin, the ridge patterns, the slight glow when emotion ran high, those were Valasian traits. "He's yours," Hana said quietly. "Ours. I was pregnant when your unit evacuated. I didn't know until after you were gone. I searched for you, Taeyang. For months I searched. Then I saw the reports. Your ship destroyed. No survivors. I thought..." Her voice broke. The light patterns on her skin pulsed with grief remembered. Jiho tugged on Taeyang's hand. "You're really my Appa, right? Iyama showed me pictures, old ones from the war. You look older now, but it's you. I knew I would find you someday." Taeyang knelt down slowly until he was at eye level with the boy. His son. The word felt foreign and right at the same time. Up close, he could see more details. Jiho had a small scar on his chin. His hands were human-shaped, but with faint luminescence under the nails. He wore simple clothes, but a pendant around his neck. Valasian design, probably from Hana's family. "How old are you?" Taeyang asked. 7.5, Jiho said proudly. "I'm tall for my age." Yama says I got that from you. 7.5 years. Taeyang had been flying cargo runs, drinking too much, trying to forget the war. And all that time his son was growing up without him. Guilt crashed over him like a wave. Hana, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you, she said. She moved closer, kneeling beside them. This close, he could smell something like jasmine and ozone, the scent he remembered from those stolen moments during the war. I never bonded with anyone else. In our culture, when a Valasian bonds telepathically with someone, it's permanent. I couldn't forget you even if I wanted to. I couldn't forget you either, Taeyang admitted. Jiho looked between them with sharp, intelligent eyes. Does this mean we can be a family now? The question was so simple, so full of innocent hope, that Taeyang felt something crack inside his chest. He had spent years building walls around his heart, keeping everyone away. But this child, this impossible hybrid child, was asking him to tear those walls down. Before Taeyang could answer, alarm sirens began wailing throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Automated voices announced in multiple languages, warning, unidentified vessel approaching. All visitors proceed to designated safe areas. Hana's face went pale, her patterns flickering in fear. No, not here. Not now. What is it? Taeyang asked, standing up and pulling Jiho close instinctively. Kraven, Hana whispered. They've found us. The word sent ice through Taeyang's veins. The Kraven, the same enemy from the war, the ones who showed no mercy. Jiho pressed against him, small body trembling. And in that moment, Taeyang made a choice. He didn't know how to be a father. He didn't know if he deserved this second chance. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would protect this child with his last breath. Come on, he said, gripping both their hands. My ship is this way. Stay close to me. As they ran through the panicking crowd, Taeyang felt the weight of 10 lost years pressing down on him. But he also felt something else, purpose. The memory hit Taeyang without warning as they ran through the station corridors. 10 years ago, Talvos 4, the border moon where everything changed. His reconnaissance unit had been ambushed. Craven forces came out of nowhere, their black ships blocking out the stars. Taeyang remembered the heat of explosions, the screaming of his squad mates, the taste of blood in his mouth. He had crawled behind a rock formation, clutching his side where shrapnel had torn through his armor. He was dying, he knew it. The wound was too deep. Then she appeared like something from a dream, a Valasian medic with the Allied Defense Coalition. Her hands glowed with soft blue light as she pressed them against his wounds. He felt warmth spreading through his body, chasing away the cold fingers of death. Stay with me, she had said in accented Korean. You're not dying today, human. Taeyang, he had gasped. My name is Taeyang. Hana, she replied and smiled. Appa, you're squeezing too hard. Jiho's voice pulled him back to the present. Taeyang loosened his grip on the boy's hand. They were still running, weaving through crowds of panicking aliens and humans. Station security was trying to maintain order, but everyone wanted to reach the ships. Sorry, Taeyang muttered. Hana ran beside them, her movements graceful even in crisis. Your ship, how far? Docking Bay 7, 2 levels down. They reached an elevator, but it was packed with people. Taeyang cursed and looked around. He spotted a maintenance shaft entrance. This way. He pried open the access panel. The shaft led down into darkness with only a ladder visible. Hana didn't hesitate. She climbed in first. Then Taeyang helped Jiho onto the ladder before following. Inside the shaft, the alarm sounds were muffled. They climbed down quickly. Jiho moved well for a child, his hybrid strength showing. Taeyang stayed close behind him, ready to catch him if he slipped. Another memory surfaced. 3 months he had spent with Hana during the war. 3 months of stolen moments between battles. She taught him about Valasian culture, about their telepathic abilities that let them sense emotions and share thoughts with those they trusted. He taught her about Earth, about Korean food he missed, about the ocean he grew up near. One night, hiding in an abandoned research station while Kraven patrols searched for survivors, she had touched his face with glowing fingertips. My people have a saying, she whispered. When a Valasian bonds with someone, truly bonds, it's written in light and memory. It cannot be undone. Are you saying... Taeyang had started. I'm saying I choose you. If you'll have me. He kissed her then, and felt something connect between them, a warmth that went deeper than physical touch. Later he learned she had initiated a telepathic bond, something Valasians only did with life partners. 3 months. Then the ceasefire came suddenly. Evacuation orders scattered everyone. Tae Yang's unit was loaded onto a transport in the middle of the night. He tried to find Hana, but the chaos was too much. He left messages, coordinates, promises to find her. 2 weeks later, his transport was attacked. The ship was destroyed. Tae Yang survived in an escape pod, picked up by a salvage crew days later, but officially he was listed as dead. By the time he recovered and tried to find Hana, she had vanished. Returned to Malaysia, people said. Unreachable. He gave up after a year of searching. What else could he do? They reached the bottom of the shaft and emerged in the lower docking level. The bay stretched before them, filled with ships of all sizes. Taeyang spotted his ship, the Hanal, a modified cargo vessel that had served him well. There, he pointed. As they ran toward it, Jiho suddenly stopped. His eyes went wide and the patterns on his temples began to glow brighter. Yama, he said urgently. Bad people, close. Hana's face tightened. He can sense them. The Craven hunters, they're already on the station. How many? Taeyang asked. I don't know. Jiho's abilities are still developing, but they're searching for us. Taeyang pulled out his sidearm, a weapon he had carried since his military days. Get to the ship. I'll cover you. No, Hana said firmly. We go together. They moved quickly but carefully toward the Hanul. Other people were running to their ships too, creating confusion and noise. Good. That would make them harder to spot. Taeyang was almost at the ramp when he saw them. 3 figures in dark armor moved between the ships. Craven hunters. They were shorter than humans, but heavily built, with forearms and heads that sat low on their shoulders. Their armor was equipped with tracking devices and weapons. They moved with purpose, scanning the area. One of them turned in their direction. Run! Taeyang shouted. He fired his weapon, the shots echoing in the bay. The Craven scattered, seeking cover. Return fire sizzled past Taeyang's head. He kept shooting, backing toward the ship while Hana and Jiho ran up the ramp. More Craven appeared from the other side. 5, 6, maybe more. They were surrounding the ship. Taeyang's weapon clicked empty. He cursed and ran for the ramp. Energy bolts hit the ground around his feet. He felt heat on his back as one shot came too close. Then Hana appeared at the top of the ramp. Her hands glowed bright blue, brighter than Taeyang had ever seen. She thrust them forward and a wave of telepathic force burst out. The Craven hunters stumbled, clutching their heads. Telepathic attacks didn't work well on Craven normally. Their minds were too different from humanoids. But the surprise gave Taeyang the seconds he needed. He reached the ramp and hit the control. It began to close. A Craven hunter tried to grab the edge, but Jiho appeared beside his mother. The boy's hands glowed too. Not blue like Hana's, but gold, a color Taeyang had never seen before. Jiho touched the ramp and energy exploded outward in a protective burst. The Craven was thrown backward, crashing into a cargo container. The ramp sealed shut. Taeyang ran to the cockpit, Hana and Jiho right behind him. His hands flew over the controls, starting the engines. The ship shuddered to life. Hold on, he shouted. The Hanul lifted off, turning sharply. More weapons fire hit the hull, but the shields held. Taeyang pushed the engines hard, racing for the station exit. Station security was ordering him to stop, but he ignored them. Craven ships were already scrambling, launching to pursue. They burst out of the station into open space. Stars surrounded them, beautiful and cold. Taeyang set course away from Kepler 7, away from the Craven ships that were giving chase. In the co-pilot seat, Hana was breathing hard. Her glow had faded to its normal soft light. She looked exhausted. Jiho sat between them, eyes wide with excitement and fear. That was scary, he said. Yeah, Taeyang agreed. His hands were shaking on the controls. It was. Hana reached over and placed her hand on his. The touch sent warmth through him, and suddenly he could feel her emotions. Fear, yes, but also relief, hope, and something deeper, older. The bond they had formed 10 years ago, still there, waiting. We need to reach Malaysia, she said quietly. It's the only place Jiho will be truly safe. Taeyang looked at his son, this impossible child he never knew he had. Then at Hana, the woman he thought he had lost forever. Then that's where we go, he said. Behind them, the Craven ships pursued. But for the first time in 10 years, Taeyang wasn't running away from something. He was running toward a future he never dared to hope for. The ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, and the stars stretched into lines of light. Taeyang finally allowed himself to breathe. The Kraven couldn't follow them through a jump, not immediately. They had a few hours at least. He set the autopilot and turned to look at Hana and Jiho. His family. The word still felt strange in his mind. Jiho had fallen asleep in the co-pilot chair, exhausted from the escape and whatever power he had used. His small chest rose and fell peacefully. The glow on his temples faded to almost nothing. "What was that?" Tae-yang asked quietly.
The gold light.
"I've never seen Velasians do that." Hana stroked Jiho's hair gently. "Neither have I. Hybrid children are rare, Tae-yang. There have only been a few dozen in all of history. They're different from both parents. Stronger in some ways, vulnerable in others. And the Kraven know this?" Her face darkened. "Yes, for the past 3 years, they've been hunting hybrid children across the galaxy. Taking them. We don't know exactly why, but the rumors are terrible. Experiments, weapons development. They believe hybrid abilities can be extracted, copied, weaponized." Anger burned in Tae-yang's chest. "How many have they taken?" 17 that we know of. Maybe more. The Coalition tried to stop them. But the Kraven claim they're acting within their borders. Technically, they're not breaking the ceasefire terms. That's a lie. Kepler-7 is a neutral station. They don't care about neutral anymore. They're getting bold. Hana looked at him with tired eyes. "I've been running for 6 months, Tae-yang. Moving from station to station trying to keep Jiho hidden. But they're good hunters. They always find us eventually." Tae-yang felt guilt twist in his stomach. "You've been doing this alone. All these years, raising him alone and now protecting him alone." "I managed," she said softly. "But I won't lie. It's been hard. There were nights I wished you were there, wished I could share the burden with someone who understood. I'm here now," Tae-yang said. The words felt inadequate, but they were all he had. "I'm here and I'm not leaving again." Hana smiled, a sad but genuine expression. "I know, I can feel it through our bond." "You mean it," she was right. He did mean it. Despite the fear, despite feeling unprepared, something had shifted in him when Jiho called him Appa. A door he thought was sealed forever had opened. "Tell me about him," Tae-yang said. "Tell me everything. I've missed 7 years. I want to know." So Hana talked. She told him about Jiho's birth on Velasia, how the doctors were amazed by the hybrid baby. She told him about Jiho's first words, a mix of Korean and Velasian that made no sense but sounded beautiful. She told him about the boy's curiosity, his stubbornness, his kindness. "He asks about you constantly," Hana said. I showed him the few pictures I had from the war. Told him stories about the brave human soldier who saved my life, who saved many lives. "I'm no hero," Tae-yang muttered. "You are to him, and to me." She paused. "He needs you, Tae-yang. More than you know. Growing up as a hybrid is difficult. He doesn't fully fit in anywhere. On Velasia, the other children think he's too human. On human stations, they fear his Velasian traits. He's lonely." Tae-yang looked at his sleeping son. The boy seemed so peaceful now, but he could imagine the struggles Hana described. Being different, being other, never quite belonging. "I know what that feels like," he said quietly. The ship's computer beeped. A message incoming on emergency channels. Tae-yang opened it. A galactic news broadcast appeared on the screen. The reporter, a thin alien with too many eyes, spoke in rapid standard. "Breaking news. Kraven Dominion forces attacked Kepler-7 station today in what officials are calling a violation of neutral space agreements. Reports indicate they were searching for an unidentified human and Velasian with a child. 3 station security officers were killed in the raid. The Coalition has issued a formal protest, but Kraven representatives claim they were pursuing dangerous fugitives." Tae-yang turned off the broadcast, his jaw tight. "They're making us look like criminals. They're building a narrative," Hana said, "making it easier to justify hunting us. The galaxy won't protest if they think we're dangerous. But we're not. Jiho's just a child. A child with power they fear and want to control." Tae-yang stood and paced the small cockpit. "Why hybrids specifically? What makes them so special?" Hana hesitated, then said, "There's something I haven't told you. An old Velasian prophecy, though most consider it just a story. It says that when the stars grow cold and species war among themselves, children of 2 bloods will arise. They will bridge the gaps between races through empathy, forcing understanding where there was only hate. That sounds like hope, not something to fear. To some, yes. To others, it's a threat. Imagine a being who can make a craven soldier feel empathy for their victims, who can make a human understand a Valasian's thoughts, who can break down the walls between species that allow for exploitation and war. Tae-young understood. They want to stop that future, or control it. If the Kraven can weaponize hybrid abilities, they could use it to conquer, make their enemies surrender without a fight. A sound from the co-pilot chair made them turn. Jiho was awake, looking at them with serious eyes. "I don't want to be a weapon," he said quietly. Tae-young's heart broke. How much had the boy heard? He knelt beside the chair. "You're not a weapon. You're my son, and no one is going to use you for anything. But they keep chasing us. They won't stop. Then we'll keep running. Or better yet, we'll find a place where you're safe." "Valasia," Hana said. "It has planetary defenses that even the Kraven respect. Ancient technology from before the coalition formed. Once we're there, they can't touch us." "How far?" Tae-young asked. 3 days at maximum speed. But we have to go through the outer rim, Kraven-controlled space." Tae-young didn't like that. The outer rim was dangerous even without Kraven warships hunting them. But what choice did they have? "We'll make it," he said with more confidence than he felt. Jiho reached out and took his hand. The boy's skin was warm and Tae-young felt a faint tingle like static electricity. Was that the telepathic bond Hana talked about? Could he bond with his son too? "Appa," Jiho said. "I'm glad I found you." "Me too, kid. Me too." The ship flew on through the darkness between stars. Behind them, somewhere in the vast galaxy, Kraven hunters were organizing, planning, pursuing. But in the cockpit of the Hanul, a family began to form. Broken pieces coming together, learning to fit despite years and distance and all the things that should have kept them apart. Tae-young watched Jiho fall back asleep, then looked at Hana. She met his eyes and smiled. "We'll figure this out," she said softly. "Yeah," he agreed. Together. The word felt right. For the first time in 10 years, Tae-young wasn't alone, and he would fight to keep it that way. The first day passed quietly. Too quietly. Tae-young kept checking the sensors, expecting Kraven ships to appear, but space remained empty around them. Jiho explored the ship with endless curiosity. The Hanul wasn't large, a cargo vessel meant for one person, but to a 7-year-old it was an adventure. He touched everything, asked a million questions, and followed Tae-young around like a small shadow. "What's this do?" Jiho pointed at a control panel. "That monitors the fuel cells. See these numbers? They tell me how much power we have left. And this? Life support. Keeps air flowing so we can breathe. Can I push this button?" "No," Tae-young caught his hand. "That one opens the airlock. We'd all get sucked into space." Jiho's eyes went wide. "Oh, bad button. Very bad button." Hana watched them from the doorway, a soft smile on her face. Tae-young noticed her doing that often, just watching him interact with Jiho. It made him self-conscious. He wasn't good at this father thing yet. He kept worrying he would say or do something wrong. That evening, they ate together in the small galley. Tae-young had ration packs, not great food but edible. Hana supplemented with Valasian nutritional supplements she carried. Strange glowing cubes that smelled like flowers. "Appa, do you know any Earth stories?" Jiho asked between bites. "Stories? Iyama tells me Valasian stories, about the first telepaths and the crystal cities. But I don't know human stories," Tae-young thought for a moment. "Well, there's an old Korean story about a tiger and a bear who wanted to become human. A god told them they had to stay in a cave for 100 days, eating only garlic and mugwort. He told the story, surprised he remembered it. His grandmother had told him that tale when he was young." Jiho listened with complete focus, his eyes wide. "Did they become human?" Jiho asked when he finished. "The bear did." She was patient. "But the tiger gave up and ran away." "What's the lesson?" Tae-young smiled. "That good things take time. That patience is important." Jiho nodded seriously as if filing away this important information. Later, Tae-young showed him the cockpit properly. He let Jiho sit in the pilot's seat, the boy's feet not quite reaching the floor. "Want to try steering?" Tae-young asked. "Really?" "Just for a minute. Here, I'll guide you." He put his hands over Jiho's smaller ones and showed him how to adjust their course slightly. The ship responded and Jiho laughed with delight. "I'm flying!" Iyama, look. "I'm flying." Hana appeared and took a picture with her comm device. "My 2 pilots," she said warmly. For a moment, everything felt normal, like they were just a family on a trip, not running for their lives. That night, after Jiho fell asleep in the small cabin, Taeyang and Hana sat together in the cockpit. The stars streamed past, eternal and beautiful. "He really likes you," Hana said. "I was worried it would be awkward, but he took to you immediately." "I don't know what I'm doing," Taeyang admitted. "I keep thinking I'll mess up, say the wrong thing, disappoint him." "You won't, just be yourself. That's all he needs." She moved closer and took his hand. The touch sent warmth through him, and suddenly he could feel her emotions through their bond. Contentment, affection, relief at not being alone anymore. "I missed you," she whispered. "Every single day I missed you. I missed you too. I tried to forget, tried to move on, but I couldn't. The bond wouldn't let me. Valasian bonds don't fade. Even death doesn't break them. My people say bonded souls find each other across lifetimes." Taeyang turned to look at her. In the soft light of the cockpit, her luminescent patterns glowed gently. She was so beautiful it hurt. "I'm sorry I wasn't there," he said. "For the pregnancy, for Jiho's birth, for all those years. I'm sorry. I know. I forgive you. It wasn't your fault, Taeyang. War separated us, not choice. But now we have a chance. A second one. Let's not waste it." She leaned in and kissed him. It was soft and tentative at first, like they were learning each other again, then deeper, full of 10 years of longing and loss. When they pulled apart, Taeyang felt the bond between them strengthen like invisible threads weaving tighter. "I can feel you," he said in wonder. "Your emotions, your thoughts almost. The bond is reactivating. It recognizes us being together again. Given time, we'll be able to communicate telepathically, share deeper thoughts and feelings." Is that normal? For humans? No. Most humans can't form telepathic bonds at all. But you're different. You always were. Maybe that's why I was drawn to you in the first place. On the second day, Kraven ships found them. Taeyang was resting when the proximity alarm screamed. He bolted to the cockpit, Hana right behind him. 3 Kraven warships appeared on sensors, closing fast from behind. "How did they track us?" Hana asked. "Doesn't matter, hold on." Taeyang pushed the engines to maximum, but cargo ships weren't made for running. The Kraven vessels were faster, designed for pursuit and combat. Weapons fire lit up space behind them. The first shots missed, but they were getting closer. The shields absorbed a hit, then another. "We can't outrun them," Taeyang said through gritted teeth. "Asteroid field ahead." Hana pointed at the scanner. "Can you navigate it?" Taeyang looked at the dense field of tumbling rocks and debris. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but staying in open space meant certain capture. "Jiho, strap in," he shouted. The boy appeared, sleepy and confused, but Hana quickly got him secured in a seat. Taeyang aimed for the asteroid field. The Kraven ships followed, still firing. The Hanul dove into the chaos of spinning rocks. Immediately, Taeyang's training kicked in. His hands flew over the controls, dodging left, right, up, down. Asteroids the size of buildings spun past, close enough to touch. The ship's hull scraped against one, alarms blaring. Behind them, the Kraven weren't as skilled. One ship tried to follow too closely and smashed into an asteroid. It exploded in a flash of light. 2 left. Taeyang pushed deeper into the field. Rocks surrounded them, a maze of stone and ice. He relied on instinct and experience, his military training coming back. The Kraven kept pursuing, but more cautiously now. Then Jiho cried out, "Appa, left side!" Taeyang banked right, not questioning it. A massive asteroid appeared from nowhere, right where they would have been. It collided with one of the Kraven ships instead. Another explosion, 1 left. "How did you know?" Taeyang asked. "I felt it," Jiho said, his eyes glowing gold. "The ship, I could sense it somehow." Hana looked amazed. "He's developing precognition. That's extremely rare, even for full Valasians." The last Kraven ship kept coming, more careful but determined. Taeyang pushed the Hanul through impossibly tight spaces, using every trick he knew. But the pursuer matched him, staying close. Then ahead, a gap in the field, open space beyond. Taeyang aimed for it, building up speed. The Kraven followed, sensing victory. "Jiho, can you sense any danger ahead?" Taeyang asked. The boy closed his eyes, concentrating. His glow intensified. "No, nothing ahead, but..." He opened his eyes. "Behind us. The bad ship. I can feel its systems. The engines are hot, overworked." An idea formed in Taeyang's mind. "Can you make them hotter?" I don't know, maybe. Try, focus on the heat. Make it stronger." Jiho closed his eyes again, his small face scrunched with effort. The golden glow spread from his temples across his whole head. Taeyang watched the sensors. The Craven ship's energy signature spiked suddenly.
Higher, higher.
That's it, Jiho. Keep going. The Craven ship's engines overloaded. It veered off course, smoke and fire erupting from its rear. The pilot tried to regain control but failed. The ship crashed into an asteroid and went dark. They burst out of the asteroid field into clear space. Behind them only debris and silence. Jiho slumped in his seat, exhausted. Hana rushed to him, checking him over. I'm okay, Yama, he said weakly. Just tired. Taeyang set a new course, hands shaking from adrenaline. They had survived. Somehow they had survived. That was incredible, Hana said, looking at him with new appreciation. Your piloting saved us. Jiho saved us, Taeyang corrected. We both did. As a team. Jiho smiled despite his exhaustion. We make a good team, Appa. Yeah, kid. We really do. As Valesia grew closer on their navigation charts, Taeyang allowed himself a moment of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they would make it. Valesia appeared on their view screen like a jewel in space. The planet was covered in swirling clouds that glowed softly, lit from beneath by bioluminescent forests. 3 moons orbited it, and a network of defense satellites formed a protective ring. It's beautiful, Taeyang breathed. Home, Hana said with longing in her voice. I never thought I'd see it again. They passed through the defense grid after Hana transmitted her identification codes. The satellites scanned them but let them pass. As they descended through the atmosphere, Taeyang saw cities made of crystal and light, connected by bridges that seemed to float in the air. How is this possible? He asked. Ancient technology. The founders of Valesia were masters of energy manipulation. We've preserved their knowledge but can't fully replicate it. They landed at a spaceport on the outskirts of the capital city. As the ramp lowered, warm air filled with the scent of strange flowers flowed in. Jiho bounced excitedly. Grandmother's house! Can we visit grandmother? Soon, Hana promised. First, we need to speak with the council. A group of Valesians waited for them. Most wore flowing robes that shimmered with embedded light. Their faces showed various expressions, from warm welcome to cold suspicion. An older male stepped forward. Hana, daughter of House Mirai, you have returned with the hybrid child and a human. Council Leader Daewon. Hana bowed respectfully. I've returned seeking protection for my son and his father. The Craven hunt them. Daewon's luminescent patterns flickered disapprovingly. You bring trouble to our peaceful world. The Craven will demand we surrender them. They have no authority here, Hana said firmly. They have warships. Do you want to risk war for one hybrid child and a human? Taeyang felt anger rise but forced it down. Hana had warned him about Valesian politics. Not everyone approved of bonding with aliens, especially humans. Some considered it contamination of their pure bloodline. He's my son, Hana said, and I'm asking for the protection that is the right of all Valesian citizens. The child is only half Valesian, another council member said, a thin female with sharp features. Does he deserve full rights? Jiho pressed against Taeyang's leg, sensing the hostility. Taeyang put a protective hand on the boy's shoulder. With respect, Taeyang said carefully, Jiho hasn't done anything wrong. He's just a child who wants to be safe. Several council members looked at him with distaste. Human speaking in council chambers was apparently unusual. The human speaks above his station, someone muttered. Hana's patterns flared bright with anger. Taeyang is my bonded mate and Jiho's father. He has every right to speak. The argument continued, voices rising. Taeyang watched in frustration as politicians debated his son's fate, like he was a problem to be solved rather than a person. Finally, Daewon raised his hand for silence. This matter requires proper deliberation. Hana, you and your family may stay in your ancestral home while the council decides, but the human must understand our ways and not cause disruption. It was a dismissal. Hana bowed stiffly and led them away. Her ancestral home was beautiful, a structure of crystalline walls that glowed from within. Inside it was warm and spacious, but the welcome felt hollow when they arrived to find Hana's mother waiting. The older woman embraced Hana, then knelt to hug Jiho. My precious grandson, how you've grown. Grandmother! Jiho hugged her back. Then Hana's mother looked at Taeyang. Her expression was cold. So the human finally appears. Mother, Hana said warningly, 7 years, Hana. 7 years you struggled alone because he abandoned you. I didn't abandon her, Taiyang said, keeping his voice calm despite the accusation. I thought I was dead, listed as killed in action. I searched for her when I recovered. Not hard enough, apparently. Mother, stop. Hana stepped between them. Taiyang didn't know about Jiho. This isn't his fault. The older woman's patterns flickered with disapproval, but she said nothing more. The tension was thick enough to cut. That night, Jiho wanted to explore the gardens behind the house. Taiyang walked with him, grateful to escape the uncomfortable atmosphere inside. The garden was magical. Plants glowed in the darkness, flowers that chimed softly when touched, trees with leaves that changed color based on emotion. Jiho ran ahead, laughing as he touched everything. Do you like it here? Taiyang asked, catching up to him. Jiho's smile faded. The planet is pretty, but the people, some of them look at me funny, like I'm wrong. Taiyang sat on a bench and pulled Jiho beside him. You're not wrong. You're different, and some people fear different, but that's their problem, not yours. Did people treat you bad when you were young? Taiyang thought about growing up in a poor fishing village, losing his parents young, joining the military because he had nowhere else to go. Yeah, sometimes. I didn't fit in either. Too angry, too reckless. But I learned that what matters isn't what others think. It's what you know about yourself. What do you know about yourself, Appa? The question was so simple but so profound. What did he know? I know I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But I know I love you, even though we just met. And I know I'll do anything to protect you. Jiho leaned against him. I love you too. Something cracked in Taiyang's chest, a final wall crumbling. He wrapped his arm around his son and let himself feel it fully. Love, purpose, belonging. They sat in silence, watching glowing insects dance in the alien night. Days passed. The council debated endlessly. Taiyang felt useless, trapped in the house while politicians argued. He tried to be helpful, but everything he did seemed wrong. He didn't understand Valasian customs, accidentally insulted people without meaning to, and felt more out of place every day. Hana did her best to help, teaching him proper etiquette and defending him to her family. But the stress was taking a toll on her. Her glow dimmed and she grew tired easily. On the 5th day, Taiyang took Jiho to a sacred grove Hana had mentioned. It was a forest where the oldest trees on Valasia grew, their trunks as wide as houses and glowing with accumulated life energy. Yama says wishes made here sometimes come true, Jiho said. What do you wish for? Taiyang asked. That we could all be happy, together. No one chasing us, no one hating us, just normal. Taiyang wished for that too. A simple life. A real family, peace. Jiho looked up at him with serious eyes. Appa, do you wish I wasn't here? That things were simpler? The question hit Taiyang like a physical blow. He knelt in the soft moss, taking Jiho's hands. Listen to me. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I didn't know I was missing something until I met you. You make me want to be better, stronger, braver. I would never wish you away, never. Tears filled Jiho's eyes. Promise? I promise. On everything I am, I promise. They hugged in the glowing forest, father and son, both finding what they needed in each other. When they returned home, Hana met them at the door. Her face was pale, her patterns flickering erratically. The council has made a decision, she said. They want to meet tomorrow. And? Taiyang asked, though he could guess from her expression. It's not good. That night, Taiyang couldn't sleep. He stood on the balcony looking at Valasia's 3 moons. Tomorrow the council would decide Jiho's fate. Would they offer protection or demand they leave? Hana joined him, wrapping a light blanket around her shoulders. You're worried. Of course I'm worried. What if they turn us away? Then we run again. Together this time. You shouldn't have to run. This is your home. You and Jiho are my home, she said firmly. Where you go, I go. Taiyang pulled her close. Through their bond, he felt her determination, her love, her fear. And he sent back his own feelings, his promise to never let her face this alone again. Whatever happens tomorrow, he said, we face it as a family. As a family, she agreed. But neither of them could shake the feeling that tomorrow would change everything. In the distance, beyond the planetary defense grid, Kraven warships gathered. Waiting. Planning. And somewhere in the Valasian Council, a traitor prepared to make a terrible choice. The council chamber was a circular room with walls that shifted between transparent and opaque, showing the glowing city beyond. Taeyang, Hana, and Jiho stood in the center, while council members sat in elevated seats around them. Council leader Daewon spoke first. "We have deliberated on your request for protection. The matter is complex. The Craven have sent formal communications demanding we surrender the hybrid child and the human. They claim you are wanted for crimes against their people." "Lies," Hana said firmly. "What crimes? Running away from kidnappers? They claim the human destroyed 3 of their ships." "In self-defense," Taeyang said. "They attacked us first. They've been hunting Jiho for months." A council member Taeyang didn't know spoke up. "Nevertheless, surrendering you would avoid conflict. The Craven have assembled a significant fleet near our space. They're prepared to act." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some council members looked sympathetic, others calculating. "We cannot show weakness," Hana argued. "If we surrender one child to avoid conflict, what message does that send? That Valesia abandons its own when threatened. The child is not fully Valesian," the sharp-featured female council member said coldly. "He is contaminated. Perhaps it would be better—" "Enough!" Hana's patterns flared bright with rage. "He is my son. He is Valesian whether you approve or not. I invoke the right of blood. No citizen can be surrendered to foreign powers against their will." Daewon's expression was troubled. "The right of blood is ancient law, rarely invoked. But legally, Hana is correct. We cannot surrender the child without breaking our most sacred traditions. Then we must prepare for war," someone said grimly. The word hung in the air like poison. War. The conflict that had ended 10 years ago might reignite because of them. Taeyang felt sick. He looked at Jiho, who was trying to be brave but clearly terrified. This was wrong. A child shouldn't have to be the cause of war. Before anyone could speak again, alarms began blaring. A younger Valesian rushed into the chamber. "Council leader, Craven ships have breached the defense grid. They're attacking the southern settlements." Chaos erupted. Council members shouted, some calling for surrender, others for defense. Daewon tried to maintain order but failed. Taeyang grabbed Hana's arm. "We need to leave, now. Where can we go?" "They'll find us anywhere. Not if we fight back." Hana stared at him. "Fight?" Taeyang, Valesians aren't warriors. We're telepaths, healers, scholars. We don't know how to— "Then I'll teach you," he said firmly. "Humans know war. We've fought it on our world for thousands of years. We're good at it. Let me help." Council leader Daewon heard this and turned to them. His face was pale but determined. "Can you truly help us defend our people?" Taeyang thought about his military training. Years of combat experience. "Yes, but you have to trust me." "We have no choice," Daewon said. He raised his voice. "Council, I'm invoking emergency powers. This human will coordinate our defense." Protests erupted, but another explosion rocked the building. The city's shields were being bombarded. "Decide now," Daewon shouted. "Trust him or watch our world burn." A tense vote followed. Barely a majority agreed. Taeyang didn't wait for the dissenters to change their minds. "Get me to your military command center, and someone find me a map of the city's layout." Hours later, Taeyang stood in a command center he barely understood, surrounded by Valesians who looked at him with a mixture of hope and doubt. Holographic displays showed Craven forces attacking from 3 directions. "Why aren't your automated defenses working?" Taeyang asked. A technician answered nervously. "Someone sabotaged them. A traitor in the council fed the Craven our defense codes. Betrayed from within." It made sense. The Craven couldn't have breached the shields without help. "Okay," Taeyang said, thinking fast. "Forget the automated systems. We do this manually. You?" He pointed at a young Valesian male. "What's your name?" "Bonhua." "Bonhua, gather everyone who can fight. I don't care if they've never held a weapon. Get them here." "But we're not trained." "I'll train you. Fast version, move." Over the next hours, Taeyang worked frantically. He taught Valesians basic combat tactics, how to use cover, how to set ambushes. They were clumsy at first, their peaceful nature rebelling against violence. But fear of losing their homes motivated them. Hana used her telepathic abilities to coordinate groups across the city, linking defenders together so they could communicate instantly. It was exhausting for her, but she pushed through. Jiho stayed close to Taeyang, helping where he could. The boy's ability to sense danger proved invaluable. He warned of Craven movements before sensors detected them. The first real battle came at nightfall. Krevan ground forces pushed into the western district. Taeyang led a group of Valasian volunteers to meet them. "Remember what I taught you," he said. "Stay in pairs. Use the buildings for cover. Don't try to be heroes. Just slow them down." The Kraven soldiers were professional and brutal. They advanced in formation, their weapons cutting through Valasian defenses. Taeyang's group hit them from the sides using guerrilla tactics. The Valasians were terrified but followed his lead. A Kraven soldier got close to Bonhua, weapon raised. Taeyang shot it, then pulled the young Valasian to safety. "Stay with me," Taeyang said. "You're doing great." "I'm scared," Bonhua admitted. "Good, fear keeps you alive. Use it." They fought building by building, street by street. Taeyang showed them how to improvise traps, how to use the environment. Slowly, the Kraven advance slowed. A Kraven commander, larger than the others, confronted them in a plaza. It laughed, a harsh sound. "Humans, always so stubborn. You think your primitive tactics can stop us?" Taeyang stepped forward. Blood dripped from a cut on his forehead, but his eyes were hard. "We think we're going to make you regret coming here." Weak words from a weak species. "Weak?" Taeyang smiled, cold and dangerous. "Let me tell you about humans. We climbed out of caves on a world that tried to kill us every day. Predators, diseases, other humans. We survived it all. We built cities, reached the stars, and learned to fight on 1,000 different worlds. You know what we're best at? Not giving up ever." He raised his weapon. Around him, Valasians did the same. They were scared, exhausted, but they stood firm. "This is our world," Bonhua said, finding courage. "And we won't let you take it." The battle was fierce. The Kraven commander was tough, but Taeyang was tougher. He had fought worse enemies in worse conditions. When the commander fell, the other Kraven soldiers hesitated. That's when Jiho appeared. The boy walked into the plaza, his small form glowing gold. Hana called out to stop him, but Jiho kept going. He stood in the middle of the battlefield and closed his eyes. Energy exploded from him in a wave. Every being in the plaza, Kraven and Valasian alike, suddenly felt something they hadn't before. Through Jiho's hybrid abilities, the Kraven soldiers felt fear, pain, grief. Emotions they had suppressed for years under strict military conditioning. They felt what their victims felt. Several Kraven dropped their weapons overwhelmed. Others backed away, confused and shaken. The telepathic empathy Jiho broadcast was too much for their rigid minds to process. One Kraven soldier looked at a Valasian he had been about to shoot and saw not an enemy but a person. Frightened. Desperate to live. Just like him. The soldier lowered his weapon and walked away. Others followed. Not all, but enough. The attack faltered, then broke. Kraven forces retreated, leaving their weapons behind. Jiho collapsed. Taeyang ran to him, scooping him up. The boy was barely conscious. "Did I help?" Jiho whispered. "You saved us," Taeyang said, holding his son tight. "You saved everyone." Around them, Valasians and even some former Kraven soldiers stood in stunned silence. Something fundamental had shifted. The boy's power had forced empathy on beings who had never experienced it, cracking open minds that had been sealed by propaganda and conditioning. Hana rushed to them, checking Jiho over. He would be okay, just exhausted. In orbit above, the Kraven fleet began to withdraw. Reports came in of mutinies, of soldiers refusing orders, of entire ships defecting. The telepathic wave Jiho created had spread farther than anyone imagined. The Kraven invasion was over, but the cost had been high. Parts of the city lay in ruins. Many Valasians were injured or dead, and Jiho, who had saved them all, lay unconscious in his father's arms. Taeyang carried his son through the damaged streets, Hana beside him. Around them, Valasians looked at them with new eyes, not with suspicion or fear, but with gratitude and respect. A human and a hybrid child had defended their world when their own defenses failed. Council leader Daewon met them at the medical center. His patterns flickered with shame and respect mixed together. "I was wrong about you," he said to Taeyang. "About all of you. You have our deepest thanks." "Just protect my son," Taeyang said tiredly. "That's all I ask. He will be protected. I swear it on the light of Valasia." As medics took Jiho for treatment, Taeyang finally allowed himself to feel the exhaustion. He had fought for hours, pushed his body past its limits, but it had been worth it. His son was safe. His family was safe. And humanity had proven once again what it was capable of when protecting those it loved. 3 months after the battle, Taeyang stood on a balcony overlooking the rebuilt districts of Valasia's capital. The Valasians had worked tirelessly to repair the damage, and already new structures rose from the ruins. These new buildings mixed traditional Valasian crystal architecture with human engineering principles. A symbol of cooperation, Jiho had recovered fully, though he tired more easily now. The doctor said his abilities had grown significantly, but he needed time to adjust to them. He was sleeping peacefully inside, finally free from nightmares of being chased. Footsteps approached. Hana joined him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. Her glow had returned to its healthy brilliance, and through their bond, Taeyang felt her contentment. The Galactic Council sent their final decision, she said. It's official. Hybrid children are now recognized as protected citizens across all Coalition worlds. The Kraven Dominion has been sanctioned, and they're facing internal rebellions. Those soldiers who defected are seeking asylum in Coalition space. Good, Taeyang said. They deserve a chance at a different life. They're calling it the empathy revolution. What Jiho did, making those soldiers feel what their victims felt, it started something bigger. Across Kraven space, soldiers are questioning their orders. Some are refusing to fight. Taeyang thought about those Kraven who had laid down their weapons. War made monsters of people, but it could be undone. Understanding empathy, connection. That was how you defeated true evil. There's more news, Hana said with a smile. The council wants to create an academy, a place where hybrid children can learn to control their abilities safely. They want us to help run it. Us? I'm not a teacher. You taught an entire city how to defend itself in a few hours. I think you can teach children. She turned him to face her. They're also offering you citizenship. You'd be Valasian by law, with all the rights and protections that brings. Taeyang was quiet for a moment. Citizenship meant he could stay here legally, be part of Jiho's life without complications. But it also meant leaving Earth behind, the planet he was born on. What about Earth, he asked. I'd still like Jiho to see it someday. Know that part of his heritage too. The council agreed to that. We can split our time between both worlds. 6 months here, 6 months there. Jiho should know both sides of his family. I don't have family on Earth anymore. Then we'll make new family, together. The idea settled into Taeyang's heart. A life split between two worlds, raising his son to appreciate both cultures. Teaching other hybrid children that being different was a strength, not a weakness. Okay, he said. Let's do it. Hana's patterns flared bright with joy. She kissed him, and their telepathic bond sang with shared happiness. A sleepy voice called from inside. Appa Yama? Where are you? They went back inside to find Jiho sitting up, rubbing his eyes. The boy smiled when he saw them together. I had a good dream, he said. We were on Earth at the ocean. You were teaching me to swim. That can be a real memory, Taeyang said, sitting beside him. We're going to Earth in a few months. I'll teach you to swim, show you where I grew up. Really? Jiho's eyes lit up. Really? And then we'll come back here, and you'll start at the new academy. You'll meet other kids like you. Other hybrids? Jiho looked excited and nervous. Will they like me? They'll love you, Hana assured him. You're going to help them learn control, show them they're not alone. Over the following weeks, preparations began. Taeyang worked with Valasian engineers to design the academy. It would be a place of learning and safety, where hybrid children could be themselves without fear or judgment. Representatives from other species arrived to discuss similar programs on their worlds. Apparently, human Valasian hybrids weren't the only ones. There were human Andrian hybrids, Valasian Kalish hybrids, and dozens of other combinations. All had faced discrimination and danger. Now they would have protection and purpose. Taeyang found himself becoming something he never expected, an advocate. He spoke at coalition meetings about the importance of protecting hybrid children, about the strength diversity brought to the galaxy. His words, backed by the story of how one hybrid child had stopped an invasion through empathy, carried weight. Humans across the galaxy took notice. Taeyang received messages from other humans who had formed families with aliens. They thanked him for standing up, for fighting, for showing that love transcended species boundaries. One message came from an old war buddy, someone Taeyang thought had died. I saw you on the news feeds, the message said. I can't believe you have a kid, and that you helped defend an alien world. That's so you, man. Always protecting people. I'm proud to have served with you. Stay safe out there. Taeyang stared at the message for a long time. He had spent years after the war feeling like he had no purpose, no direction, just drifting through space, hauling cargo, trying to forget. Now he had everything. A partner who understood him completely. A son who needed him. A purpose that mattered. The day finally came to visit Earth. They took the Hanul, the ship that had carried them through so much danger. It had been repaired and upgraded, now bearing both human and Valasian design elements. As they descended through Earth's atmosphere, Tai Yang felt emotion tightening his throat. He was home, really home, for the first time in over a decade. They landed near the coast, close to the village where Tai Yang had grown up. It was smaller than he remembered, weathered by time and storms. But the ocean was exactly as he recalled, vast, blue, eternal. Jiho stood on the beach staring at the waves in wonder. It's so big. And loud! That's the ocean, Tai Yang said, taking off his shoes. Come on. He took Jiho's hand and led him into the shallow water. The boy squealed at the cold, then laughed as a wave washed over their feet. Hana joined them, her Valasian sensitivity to water making the experience intense for her. Taeyang taught Jiho to float, to swim, to respect the ocean's power. They spent hours in the water playing like Jiho was just a normal child on a normal day. No Kraven hunters. No political debates. Just a father and son. Later, they built a fire on the beach and roasted fish Taeyang caught. As the sun set, painting the sky in colors that made Hana's patterns glow in response, Taeyang felt complete. Appa, Jiho said, leaning against him. Can I ask you something? Anything. When I first saw you at the station, I knew you were my dad. I just knew. But were you scared when you saw me? Taeyang thought about that moment. The shock, the confusion, the instant feeling of responsibility. Terrified, he admitted. I didn't know how to be a father. I still don't, really. I just try my best every day. I think you're a good Appa, Jiho said seriously. You protected me. You taught me things. You make Yama happy. That's what good fathers do, right? If you say so, then I'll believe you. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars appear. Up there, somewhere among those points of light, other families like theirs were forming. Humans and aliens, creating bridges between species through love and understanding. Hana rested her head on Taeyang's shoulder. Do you ever regret it? Finding us? Your life was simpler before. My life was empty before, Taeyang said. I didn't know it, but I was just waiting. Waiting for a small boy to crash into my legs and call me Appa. Waiting to remember what it felt like to have purpose. And now? Now I know what I'm supposed to do. Protect you both. Help other families like ours. Show the galaxy that different doesn't mean wrong, it means stronger. Jiho had fallen asleep against him. Taeyang adjusted his position to make the boy more comfortable. A shooting star crossed the sky, bright and brief. Make a wish, Hana said. But Taeyang didn't need to wish. He had everything he wanted right here. The woman he loved, the son he would die for, and a future full of possibilities. In the distance, a group of people approached along the beach. As they got closer, Taeyang saw they were families. Human-alien couples with hybrid children, drawn by news of his visit. They had come seeking advice, support, connection. He stood to meet them, Jiho secure in his arms. This was his purpose now, being a bridge, showing others the path forward. More families would come. More hybrid children would be born. And the galaxy would learn what Jiho had taught the Kraven, that empathy and understanding were more powerful than any weapon. The next morning, as they prepared to return to Valazia, Jiho ran along the beach one last time, collecting shells. Taeyang and Hana watched him, hands linked. You know, Hana said softly, there's something I haven't told you yet. What? She placed his hand on her stomach, her patterns glowing bright. Through their bond, he felt it, a tiny life beginning, a flutter of new energy. Another child, she said with a smile. A sister for Jiho. Taeyang felt tears forming. Another child. Another chance to do this right from the start. How long have you known? A few weeks. I wanted to tell you here on your homeworld. He pulled her close, this woman who had saved his life in more ways than one. I love you. Both of you. All of you. And we love you. Jiho ran back with hands full of shells. Look what I found. Can we bring them to Valasia? Of course, Taeyang said. And Jiho, we have something to tell you. As he explained about the baby, Jiho's face transformed with joy. A sister, really? I'm going to be a big brother? Really. The boy hugged them both, careful of Hana's stomach.